What's up, people? This is Nature Girl 30 here, and this is my mini Q&A number 19. I'm doing this on a Monday in the midst of what happened in Boston during the Boston Marathon. There were two bombings that happened and injured 50 people so far and has killed two. For all those that don't know about the situation in Boston, please send some love and some prayers to the people that are suffering right now, especially all the women and children and women, men, children, everyone that suffered during this terrible time. So please send some love and some prayers out to those that are suffering right now. Let's get started on this Q&A. The first person that I'm gonna, the first person for this Q&A is going to be, sorry, it's been a very, very long day, and it just still breaks my heart a little bit after what happened to the people in Boston. Even though I'm not there, it's still really sad and messed up that this happened to so many people. And again, I'm not going to make it like another part of my soapbox. This is actually going to be a Q&A. So let's get started, shall we? This is going to, my first set of questions is going to come from Final Limits 1. What are your thoughts on Emily Osment? I think she's cool. I mean, she has the same talent as her brother, and I think that she actually, if she stays consistent with it and goes outside of Disney, she should be a really awesome actress, and I hope she does continue to still be an actress. Have you ever played any Tony Hawk games? I have. It was years ago in the 90s when Tony Hawk was kind of hot. I mean, he's still pretty cool right now, but I think he's retired from skateboarding right now. He used to be in the X Games all the time, but he retired from that years ago. But I haven't played Tony Hawk since the 90s, so yeah, not recently, but I have played it before. Why does Scott Hall and Jake Roberts still have long hair at their age? They prefer it, the same as older people wear bandanas to hide their balding heads. But either or, not to sound mean about that, if they want to have the whole long hair thing, and if it looks good on them, more power to them. It doesn't matter to me, but they probably like the hairstyle. Why does it matter? Why does it bother me so much that I don't date a chick who smokes, but I smoke? Is that something? Okay. Why does it bother me that I don't date a chick who smokes, but I smoke? Is there something wrong with me, or is something a matter with my crazy butt? No, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just maybe this is my humble opinion. I'm not going by anybody else. I really feel that maybe it's a part of you that really does want to quit. So having somebody else that you're dating that smokes too will probably just feed the need. So I mean, that's my humble opinion. Maybe you want to quit, but maybe you just it can't really quit right now. I don't know. I mean, maybe you just don't prefer a woman that smell like rotten bacon. I don't know, because I mean, or whatever. Like it's your preference. Maybe you just don't want someone to smoke when you're dating them. Maybe that's the reason. What is the matter with Largest 85? I have no idea. I don't know the guy. Why must us as human beings suffer? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Why does Largest 85 life suck? I have no idea, but if you're going through a tough time, my prayers go out to you. I hope everything gets better. Well, that's those are your questions that you have sent to me. Final Limits 1, thank you so much. And you have another set you have sent to me. Okay, let's get started on these. What is the latest you ever went to sleep? Honestly, I don't really go to sleep. I pass out, and I really don't know when I pass out. I usually pass out for 4 hours, wake up again, go to bed, and then pass out for another 4 hours. So I really don't know. What are your thoughts on Chase Oliver? I like Chase Oliver. He's pretty cool. Or AKA, what was it? The Asian Randy Orton. Either or, he's a cool dude. I like him. He has some really interesting thoughts, especially on Twitter during TNA. I admire the guy. Do you think Dan Parkin looks like Todd Grissom? I really never thought about it. I guess if I took two pictures and put Daniel next to Todd Grissom, maybe I'll be able to compare, but I guess I really never noticed. What are your thoughts on Brian Kendrick when he when he was a heel and when he was on TNA, and which company used him better? Honestly, I preferred him on TNA. He had a lot more edge, and he was pretty original with his character when he was on TNA. And I prefer him more as a heel on TNA than as a heel on WWE. He was far too corny, and it was all about his bodyguard, in my opinion. Thoughts on Taryn Terrell as the newest Knockout? Um, she's cool. I still like her as Tiffany, and I prefer her to be as Tiffany in a managerial role. But she's not so bad of a wrestler, so I don't have any beef on that. Would you date a guy who smoked weed or cigs? No. I actually dated many guys that smoked weed, and let's just say conversations really weren't that exciting. But no, I wouldn't smoke. I wouldn't date a guy that smoked weed or cigarettes. Have you ever played a game and got far? Okay, have you ever played a game and got far on the game but forgot to save, and either you die or power went out? Yes, that has happened to me when I played Bioshock Infinite. I came close to beating the game. I was on the airship. I was ready for the final battle. The power went out. Who knew? The power went out of the blue. I ended up having to go all the way back to start, and it took me nearly 3 hours to get back to where I was. And at that point, I was so tired, I just gave up and I quit, and then I ended up having to play it again. So yeah, I feel you. Definitely feel your pain. Um, do you ever drink flavored beer like Calypso Colada? And have you ever drank that type of beer? I've never heard of Calypso Colada. I don't really drink flavored beer. I drink malt liquors usually, like Sky Blue or Smirnoff Ice. Those are the ones that I usually have. But no, I haven't had a Calypso Colada, and I'm actually going to look into drinking that. I'm actually going to look into trying that now that you told me. Thank you so much for your second set of questions, Final Limits 1. Now let's go into largest 85. Uh, um, what do you think of Seifer from Final Fantasy VIII? He was a bit of a whiner, but he wasn't so bad of a character. In the very end, when you started to go further along with him, he wasn't all that bad. He was quite tolerable. First starting off, he was a whiner, in my opinion. Are you a fan of Taylor Swift? And what would you do if you ever met her in person? Would you scream like a 12-year-old girl? I would be like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, that's Taylor Swift." Um, but me, it's like coming from Atlanta. I've seen my share of celebrities, and being from Atlanta, you usually see them all the time. So there's a point where you be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so and so," and then go on your merry way. Like I don't really mark out for celebrities. I'll probably be like, "Whoa," and then if I really want an autograph, I'm probably like, "I love your work. Can you give me an autograph?" I really wouldn't flip out or anything. I would probably mark out totally if I met the Nature Boy. I'm not gonna lie, I would wholeheartedly. Um, Thoughts on Brian Kendrick? And I've answered this question before with Final Limits 1. I liked him as a heel on TNA. Um, Thoughts on Umaga and how did you react when he died? I was shocked. I was shocked, and I felt like the WWE really did lose a very wonderful heel that had a possibility of growing and becoming stronger. It broke my heart when he passed. And it kind of made me think of all the other wrestlers that passed, and he's passed the same way they did. So it broke my heart that that he did pass away, and he is still missed to this day. Thoughts on Patrick Swayze and how did you react when he died? It was a long time coming. It was something that I kind of knew that was going to happen, but I just wasn't expecting when it was going to happen and soon. He was sick for a very long time, so it was expected that he was going to pass away soon. I think he knew that. But it did break my heart because the guy happened to be a legend in his craft, and I love Dirty Dancing, and he was well known for Big Trouble in Little China. That was one of my favorite movies that he did. But honestly, it did break my heart when he did pass. Wait, no, that wasn't Patrick Swayze. Um, my bad. That was Kurt Russell. They kind of look the same, but yeah, he was on Dirty Dancing. But anyway, it did break my heart. How did you react when Michael Jackson died? That was total shock. Um, at first, I didn't know that he had a drug problem, and how he died really did break my heart. The fact that something, you felt like something could have been done, but it was done wrong. But God was with him. He's with the Lord now. He's definitely in peace, and his children's being taken care of. How did you react when 9/11 happened? Good grief, a lot of tragedies. Um, Sorry, these questions. Sorry for these questions, but I know they're a little depressing. Yeah, they are a little bit. Well, actually, no, they really aren't. They're not. They're not that depressing. Not anymore. Because I know that everyone that did pass away is in a better place. They have no pain. They are free from the bondage that held them. They're with God now, so it's not really all that bad for me like it used to be. 9/11 was devastating, but at that point, I was going through a really tough time dealing with a breakup with my ex boyfriend that I really did love, my first love, and then 9/11 happened, and then that just really made you put into perspective that your trivial whining that you had over whatever happened in your life was minor compared to what was going on in New York. And my heart went out to them. I cried more for New York than I did for my situation, and it did bring the world together. It brought the U.S. together as a people, and it made, and that day everyone came together and prayed together and was supportive of one another and edified one another. And that was the day that the U.S. came together as one, and that the day that we all just joined together as one, prayed together about our situations, prayed to the Lord and asking Him for help all together. That was just a beautiful moment for me. It was a beautiful moment that we came together as a nation for us being so separate for so long. So in a way, even though that was a huge tragedy, and even though that Al Qaeda thought they won, or whoever did the bombings thought that they won, they didn't, because we came together as a nation, as a whole, and we edified one another and brought each other up, and we all came together and prayed in fellowship, and that is something that they can't take away from us. Thoughts on Die Hard WWE Addict? I don't really know the guy that much, so I really don't have any thoughts on him. Has any video game song been stuck in your head for days and it kept you humming at it at times? Um, Not lately, no. Well, actually, I have to say that I have been playing Bioshock a lot, and Bioshock Infinite. The introduction when you first go into Columbia, that little piano tune got stuck in my head for a few weeks, but that's because I literally played at least 12 hours nonstop of Bioshock. So of course it gets stuck in your head. Thoughts on the Ocean Twins? I got no beef with them. They're making tons of money. They're making more money than me. They are billionaires. More power to them. My next and last person for my Q&A is Real Spider-Man Noir fan. What games have ever gotten you expecting to be good at it, but end up being complete trap? Wait, what games have you ever gotten expecting to be good, but ended up being complete crap? Um, I rent my games. um, I rent my games, so I don't usually buy them unless I looked at a decent review of them before buying it. But I have to say the game that I really thought that was going to be awesome was Burnout Paradise. I love Burnout. I was a huge fan of the Burnout series, but then they came out with Burnout Paradise maybe a few years later after Burnout 3, which is probably like one of the best Burnout games ever. But unfortunately, it ended up being complete crap because it took out the most fun, the most important aspect of Burnout, and that was crash mode. How can you take out crash mode? The only mode that mattered to the game. Not only that, it was in a real world setting, and you didn't even know where to go. You couldn't select where you wanted to be. You had to refuel your car. Your car would have damage throughout the game. There was so many changes that really did affect the game, in my opinion. And not to mention, it had like so many points and scores for creativity and acrobatic moves. I'm like, oh please. It disappointed me so much that I was gonna expect it to be more like Burnout 3 and even better, and it wasn't. So I'm like, lame. Um, what does old spirit mean that you address Taylor? Okay, what does old spirit mean that you address Taylor Swift about her heel turn? Old spirit is somebody that's really young but acts really mature for their age. Um, like Taylor Swift was very young. She was 18, but she acted like she was a really mature, maybe 27-year-old woman. And then the older she gets, she acts more older. She acts a lot more older, a lot more mature. You don't really see her doing the whole typical teen stuff, like the whole typical, oh my gosh, my nail broke. You know, she was like really, really mature for her age, and her work ethic is very mature for her age. And that's what I mean by old spirit. Someone that acts a little bit more mature for what their age is supposed to act like. And I know a few people like that. And I guess being from the South, you see a lot more older people, especially a lot more younger people that have been through tragedies. They grow up fast, and that's pretty much that's kind of the same thing as the old spirit, except that there's some people that are just born that way. There's some people that just grew up being provincial and mature about some things that happen in their lives. But yeah, that's what I mean by her. She's really mature for her age. Um, what was the best and worst heel turn of all time for you? Stone Cold Steve Austin. When Stone Cold Steve Austin turned heel, it didn't make no freaking sense at all. Seriously, it didn't, because he was an anti-hero. When you're an anti-hero, you've already straddled the lines between good and bad. You make your own decision, you go your own direction. That is what an anti-hero is. When you try to make them and define them as one character, when they're already doing good as the character that they are currently, you're breaking something that's already working. Like, that's the reason why it just bothered me so much. It made no sense for him to go heel. It made no sense for him to join Vince McMahon ever. And that was one of the worst moments for me as a heel. The best moment that I have to say was when Hulk Hogan turned heel. Now, it's not a lot of people they agree with that, but honestly, for reals, that was probably the best moment of his career, because he played it out so well. It wasn't corny and hokey. It was really good. And then that's when NWO came out. Honestly, that was one of the best heel turn moments that I can ever think of right now. Like, seriously, the best heel turn moments ever, in my opinion. But anyway, these are all my questions. Thank you guys so much for sending me these questions. As usual, you are going to be credited at the end of my Q&A. This is Nate Girl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.